Hello, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Comfort Francis, and we'll be starting the show in a few minutes. We're just waiting for our host to join us. In the meantime, how was everybody's Valentine yesterday? I hope it was great, and I hope everybody had a good time. Hello,
Hello,
good afternoon.
good afternoon.
Thank you for joining us this afternoon.
You're welcome. It's nice seeing you today.
You too. Thank you. You look great. How's your
And you
Valentine's
too.
yesterday? Hope you had.
Yes, I'm fine. I'm very well. Please, it's like I cannot hear you very well.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now clearly.
Okay. All right. Let me adjust it. Okay. Thank you so much. So kindly introduce yourself. Kindly tell us who you are, your name, what you do.
All right. My name is Oluwatobi Ola Adetimole, and I work as a girl child advocate. What that means is that I champion the causes of girls to ensure that they have access to education and empowerment. And then by extension, some of the intervention and activities of our organization also accommodate for women who are single parents, who are widows, or who are from low income communities. So all of this work, I do them under the umbrella of Priceless Virtues International Initiative. And I am the founder and currently the executive director of the organization. So that's why.
Wow. Nice to you. That is so great. Okay.
Thank you.
So today's topic is about building confidence in children as caregivers. So first question, what does confidence mean to children generally? Like what does it mean?
All right. So I would say that confidence in children, um, it means that their ability to be self-sufficient, their ability to, to have this belief in their strength, in their values, and in what they can do, in their skills. So sometimes we see children and we feel like they look up to us for everything. But it doesn't mean that they do not also have something to do. So when we say confidence in children, it means that they have belief in their strengths, in their abilities, and in their skills, and in what they can do without criticism.
Okay. Okay, so I just understand what you said, but is there a certain age that we should see confidence in children? Or should we start or like what group we should start?
Okay, I would say that as soon as your child can communicate with you, right, you start to instill confidence in them. Don't say until she starts school or until we start to or until they start to mix with people. As soon as you can see that this child, when you say, okay, see, when you have a 6-month-old baby, I want to feed you. Do you want to eat? Open your mouth. All of those. When the
Yeah.
when the child is under 1 year old, as soon as you can say that this child can communicate with me, start to instill confidence in them. How do you do that? A baby that is, not up to 1 year old, Maybe she's running around the house without diapers and then she urinates, right? You can tell that child to go and bring, the rag or the mopping stick to clean that place. And you will see the joy as they run around to go and do all of those things. So the moment your child can begin to communicate with you, hear what you are saying, you start to instill confidence. And how do you do that? You start to assign little tasks. Give me the pen. Thank you. Give me the spoon. Thank you. Do this for me. Do that for me. So you start to make the child believe that you also can do something. You also have the ability. You have the skill to help me, even though I'm older than you. So when you make the child, to believe in the ability, even when the child is less than 1 year old, that's how you start to build the confidence in them.
Okay, so from like any age, as far as they are able to communicate and
Yes,
understand what we are.
as far as your child is able to communicate with you, you start to instill confidence in them.
Okay, so I didn't think that we can consciously or feel accused.
There are so much as parents and as caregivers. There are so many things. Now, first of all, a parent or a caregiver that will instill confidence in a child must also be a confident person. That's the number one thing. What you don't have, you cannot give. We have so many adults that because of childhood trauma, because of upbringing, because of the environment they've lived in, they don't even have their own voices. And someone that hasn't found his own voice, there's no way you can instill confidence in a child. So one of the things, right, that we say we are doing unconsciously as parents or as caregivers, to not make our own children have confidence is when we don't have confidence. And when you are not confident in something, you might want to hide under a shade of, you better get out from here now. You better leave this place now. You are not even getting it right. But then you are shouting down on, on a child or on a toddler. So first of all, parent needs to get it right. If you are truthful to yourself and you feel like, I'm not really confident enough, you need to expose yourself to trainings. You need to expose yourself to, be open-minded and ensure that you are up to the task to instill confidence in your own child or the child that is in your care. Then secondly, criticism. Children are children. They have not lived in a previous world before, such that they'll be able to know that this thing is right or this thing is wrong. It is our duty to teach them, not to always criticize. You don't know anything. If your child is constantly making mistakes, fine, you can put your child right, you can correct, but constant criticism to children and to toddlers, we make them to lose confidence, such that when they now have the platform and they have the knowledge, they will not be able to they won't be able to stand tall. They will not be able to give out what they really have. So as parents, number one, and caregivers, we must ensure that we are confident people. We are building ourselves. We have healthy self-esteem. And secondly, we must also ensure that we are not criticizing our children. There's a difference between correcting a child and criticizing a child. So we must ensure that we are not constantly criticizing our children. Then again, we must learn to appreciate our children. Praise them. Oh, thank you. You have done well. That's my boy. That's my girl. Clap, 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 clap for yourself. All of these things, appreciating them, praising their efforts. A child is trying to pick something from the table, and then she falls or she pulled something else and then maybe water spilled on everything. You don't need to go ahead and start to, that's how you would destroy everything for me. No, she's trying to do something but could not do it. Appreciate the effort. You can say, next time, climb this chair to get this. Next time, ask for help, but then appreciate, their effort. And then another thing, celebrate, don't water down what they are doing. So by that, you can, start to build their confidence instead of pulling it down, consciously or unconsciously.
Okay, really, thank you so much. But then then again, there are children that are very expressive. There are
All
children
right.
expressive. So with children like that, how can we balance discipline and confidence? Yes, we're trying to instill confidence. And from birth, there are children that want to say what is on their mind. They just want to be expressive. So how can we balance discipline and confidence?
How can we balance discipline and
Yeah.
confidence? Okay. All right. I will say that discipline is when you are training your child to obey rules, right? See, children are children. They don't know it all. I've said it the other time. They do not know it all. So, because they do not know it all, we must ensure to guide them to doing what is right and enlighten them to understand what is wrong, right? We must teach our children to be disciplined. If you say because this child, I want to build confidence in this child, and then I overlook every expression, I overlook every action, I overlook everything he or she is doing, it's going to bounce back on the parents, and then the ripple effect is not going to be nice at all. So when you have a child that is expressive, is a strength. It's not something you should try to call. It's not something that you should try to withdraw from the child, right? But then, ensure that the expressive is also respectful. Ensure that your child, or the child that is in your care, is expressive and then is respectful. It's a strength for a child to be expressive. People that are still talking the way the world is, they are still looking up onto God's grace for them to find an headway. Not to talk of a child that is not saying anything, a child that is caving in, but a child that has found his or her voice is a strength. But as a parent, ensure that you are teaching respect with it. Ensure that you are firm on discipline. I'm a very firm person on discipline with children, because when a child is not disciplined, no matter what you have, no matter the strength, no matter the values, no matter the abilities, it's not really going to be, it's not going to be fascinating to people. People will look at you and say, and so this one, you can do all of this, but you don't have character. No. So you should discipline your child. When your child has done what is wrong, discipline the child, right? Even if the discipline requires punishment for disobedience, ensure you do it. But when a child is expressive, you can build on the strength of that expression. Ensure that he or she becomes a respectful person, right? If you want to disagree respectfully. If you want to bring, your own point of view for people to see and know, do it with respect and with regard to people that are listening to you. So with that, you'll be able to buy people over. With that, people will be able to, we'll be able to see the beauty of that being expressive. So as a parent, we must not take away discipline because our children are expressive, but we must ensure that being expressive as a child, we build on their strengths and then ensure that in being expressive, they are respectful. All right. So that's how I'll answer that.
Oh, okay. So how can confidence be protected to like adulthood, from childhood to adulthood, considering the fact that what we are going to be telling them, what we're going to be instilling in them, the confidence, the things we're going to say, they would have to come out to the real world. They will go to
All
school.
right.
How can confidence be protected when they actually get to come in contact with people people that don't even have to protect adulthood?
All right. Thank you for that question. Now, the Bible says, train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it. All right, that's number one. Then, secondly, while I was in the university as an undergraduate, there was a course that I took, and then the course is social linguistics, the relationship between the society and language. And in that course, we learned that from age 0 to 6, right? A child has already acquired, everything, the basics of a language from age 0 to 6. From age 0 to 6, some of them are not even fluent, in the English
Yeah.
language or in the Yoruba or other languages, as the case may be. But according to the science of language, a child has already acquired everything he needs to know about, the basics, the foundation, the knowledge, the total knowledge of a language between the age of 0 to 6. And that is why anything you want to teach your child, values, language, discipline, how to go about life, the best time to do it is between the age of 0 to 6. So when we are now saying how to protect confidence, right? The best time, what you teach your child, right? We abide with them. So between the age of 0 to 6, when you constantly expose your child, right, to the nurture of his or her confidence, as the child grows up, the child will begin to apply, the rest thing that is needed now is application of those things that he has learned. So, when you fill the tank of the confidence of your child so much between the age of 0 to 6, I can bet you there is, there is little work to be done. You just have to consolidate on the foundation that you have built. You don't have to keep, building on it. So you don't have to be worried about, so when this boy is faced with this kind of thing, a child that is confident enough, right, will be able to approach you as the mom or as the dad or as the caregiver. Okay, that this is what is going on. How do you think I can approach this? Because he or she knows that once I come to daddy or mommy or to my caregiver, I would get the right response. He has, even if he's done wrong in the past, you know how to handle his mistakes. You don't criticize. You praise his effort. You have filled up his confidence tank enough such that even as he is growing, he will get to a certain time that, okay, even if mommy is not here and I'm faced with this kind of situation, what am I supposed to do? What would mommy have advised me to do? What would daddy have advised me to do? So we do not really need to bother about the transitioning of a child to adulthood and how they are going to keep being confident. But what we should work more on is, the foundation from age 0 to 6, build them to be confident enough, and then as they grow up to become children, to become teenagers, we consolidate on that effort, and with that we can be sure that they'll be able to stand tall as they progress in life.
Okay. So in a child's life, who is the most important person, or who is the person that is responsible for instilling confidence in a child's life?
Okay, in the case where the child, we have so many occurrences in this life, and like I used to say, this life is not black and white. We have children who are very old child, and then there's no opportunity to be trained by the parents, maybe because of, circumstance of life. But then, as God has planned it, the normal course of life is when a child is giving birth to stay with your parents, to nurture you, to keep you, and all of that. So the parents, that is why parents, we have a lot of work to do, because every single thing you are doing, right? Your child, your children, the people that the children are in your care, they are looking at you. All of the children around you, they are watching you. Some children will just come and tell you that if Mrs. Bimbo is here, she will beat you. Oh. Mrs. Bimbo did not tell you that I will beat you. But they know that if Mrs. Bimbo is here, she's going to take action immediately. But they know that if Mrs. Kike is here, she will just be playing anyhow. She'll just be doing. Some of these things, children say them. So parents are responsible, and not just parents, intentional parents, they should be responsible for instilling confidence in their children. If I have a child now, I don't expect that child should not be able to stand up for herself. Not that she should disregard people, not that she should disrespect people, but she should be able to say yes. She should be able to say no. She should be able to say, okay, I'm not sure of what the result of this thing will be, but let me give a try. Let me try this. All of these things are what our children should learn from us. Parents, not pastors, not community leaders. Yes, not even teachers are in the secondary arm, of trying to instill confidence. So what a parent is supposed to do, we should not start to say pastors should do them, teachers should do them. So what am I saying in essence? Charity begins at home. So the parents, the first people when these children wake up in the morning, the people they see, the parents, the guardians, the caregivers, they are the ones that should ensure that they are instilling confidence, in the children. Then we now go to school. Then the school teachers, the teachers in school, they are also caregivers. They are caregivers, and then they have the responsibility to ensure that they are instilling confidence, in their students. There are some people that would see children in class, they would see them and then they would take interest in them. Other teachers have written them off. Other teachers have said, this one, I beg, just leave her, just leave him. But there are some teachers again that would come again to school and then they will say, this boy can do this, can do that. Then they will start to build the confidence, in that child. And before you know it, the child will pick up and start to talk in school. So we go from parents to teachers, and then we can now go to the religious communities, pastors, religious leaders, and all of those. And then generally as adults, even if I'm not the mother of the child, but if I see any child, saying I want to do this, my natural response, I say natural, is not, something that I should be thinking about, is that you can do it. A child walks up to me and say, I want to be a doctor, I want to be a lawyer. Oh, wow, you can do it, you can become it, right? I'm not supposed to say, you want to be a doctor. Do you know that your daddy has not even paid his house rent? Do you know that your mom is still owing somebody? No. The default response should be, oh, wow, you want to be a doctor? Yes, you can do it. So that's the way it should be, from parents to teachers to religious leaders and to every adult. All of us should join hands together and instill confidence in children.
Okay, so what you just said is the source, um, the, the source of instilling confidence should be the people that know.
I can't hear you very well, please.
So you said that the parents or guardians should be like the primary source of feeling confidence in children.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
talking about this, is this confidence thing? Is it a skill or is it something that people should know naturally? Because I think that there are people that are really I know parents. I have seen parents that are not confident enough to be able to feel confident in children. So in those kind of situations, what's gonna happen?
Okay, first of all, parenting itself is not inborn. It's not inborn. It's a skill that
You.
every parent should open should be open to learning. Parenting is a skill, and even if you cannot afford, to go to Harvard to go and learn parenting, right? You can be open-minded. There's a difference between you don't know this thing, but you want to know. I've met parents that will say, hey, please, this my boy, this my teenager, how else do you think I can? Do you understand? It's a
Mm-hmm.
skill that is not that just fine. We have the mother instinct, we have the father instinct, but parenting itself, ensuring that children, reach the maximum level of their potentials, is a skill. And it's under that skill, under parenting, there are so many things. We have intentional parenting, and under learning parenting as a skill, part of it is instilling confidence in your children. So as parents, if you know, right, I can confidently say that I have a mother, my own mom, she does not deceive herself. And that's the number one, breakthrough. Let me put it that way. Some parents, they will say that, is it not to give birth to children? Is it not to tell children this? I'm a mother. Since I can be pregnant and I can give birth to this child, definitely I'm still your mother. Even when what you are trying to tell the child, is breaking the child, causing the child to have low self-esteem, you are still saying, I am still your mother. I'm the mother. You met me in this world and all of that. No, times have changed. Times have really, really changed. So instilling confidence in your child is a skill that you must learn. Oh. Is a skill that you have to learn as a parent, as a guardian, as a nanny, as as religious leaders, as a teenage teacher, and all of that. It is a skill that you must learn. So I don't know if it's possible for maybe education bodies, regulatory officers, and all of that to ensure that maybe teachers, religious officers, and all of those, they are having, maybe trainings and all of to ensure that. But as a parent, nobody is checking you. Nobody is asking you, how are you training your child? Any parent that has the opportunity to be viewing this should know that parenting is a skill and raising is not inborn. Even those people that you feel that maybe this person is a natural leader, no, it's as a result of the environment, maybe the parents. Some I met when I was in school. I met some of my colleagues. They lived in staff quarters. Maybe in UI, Unilag, their parents are lecturers. Everything they are exposed to is doctor, Professor D's, Doctor D's, Professor D. That kind of environment. You are living. You brought up a child in that kind of environment where we have professors, doctors. The way they think, the way they handle issues, the way they carry the courage and all of that. So when you bring a child up in that kind of environment, it is quite natural for the child to, kind of adapt that kind of, behaving matured, behaving as if he's a born leader. No, it's the environment, that helps that kind of child to learn that kind of thing. And then there's another child that, maybe Ajegunle, everybody's breaking bottle, everybody's stabbing one another when there is a fight. It's not that kind of child, when exposed to the right environment, cannot become a better person or so. So we must learn all of these things. It's a skill that we have to learn, instilling confidence in our children. So even if, like I said, even if we don't have the whole of the money to, go to all of these big places, if we can afford it, let's go to parenting school. And if we cannot, we can just be open-minded. Ask questions. If you see someone in your church, someone in your environment that their children are well behaved, learn by observation. How are they doing? How are these ones behaving as if they drop from heaven directly? Something like that. So you can be open-minded. It's not inborn, it's not natural, it is a skill. If we don't have it, we have to learn it. So that's how I'll answer that question.
Wow, okay. So at what point, so you talked about children that get to live around people confident and somehow they might get overconfident. So at what point is getting overconfident? At what should there be okay? At what point should be considered being overconfident? And is that the place to be? Do you think it's
Okay. It's not okay for any child to be overconfident. When a child is overconfident, it means that when he's supposed to even, be humble to learn, such child will believe that I know everything. I will not, I will, no, I can do this. Even when that's the pitfall. So no child should be encouraged to be overconfident. Fine, let's celebrate them for the good job they are doing in the house, for their academic excellence, for their being proactive, for their wanting to answer questions. But then when I was in primary school, I was hearing ITK, ITK, I too know, I too know, I too know. So when you, as a parent, you are getting that feedback, right, from maybe your children, hey, ITK, you want to say everything to everything. You want to do this thing to everything, we have to teach our children, they should learn when to stop, right? The fact that you know everything doesn't mean that you have to say everything, right? If the question is not directed to you, if you are not called, don't just jump into any other person's conversation. For example, mommy and her friend, they are saying something, and your child knows something about it, and your child interrupts. He did not ask for permission to speak. He did not even wait for you to call him or her. And then, we have to caution them so that it won't look as if this one just want to be everywhere. We even have adults that are like that too. Some of our friends, colleagues at the office, people in church, people we move with and all, they begin to overburden us. When you don't know when to stop, you don't know when to call it a day, you don't know when to, all of those things. So we don't want them to grow up to become adults that people will be avoiding. Well, she was so confused. She will just be talking as if she knows everything. So we need to, ensure that we let our children know that no matter what you know, there is still something you do not know, right? No matter the extent you have gotten to, there is still an extent that you can still get to. Fine, we celebrate whatever milestones and all that they are, doing. But then we must also ensure that our children, there's unhealthy self-esteem, there's low self-esteem, and there is another one that is, overboard. He doesn't want to hear. Don't allow your child get to a point where he's so confident that even when they are correcting him, such that at the end of the day, people want to correct. I beg, who will tell him? I can't tell him. Oh, you tell him now, he'll say another thing. He will be bringing up another. So we don't want our children to grow up to become such adults that people cannot talk to, people cannot correct. So we should, some of these things we can even explain terms to our children. Confidence, this is what it means. Overconfidence, this is what it means. Confidence, this is the advantage. Overconfidence, this is the disadvantage. So when we lay it bare to them, they will be able to understand and they will be able to work with it accordingly. But then, overconfidence for children is a no.
Okay. So, what should caregivers or parents know about confidence? Is there anything they should know before they start instilling confidence in children? Is there anything they need to know?
Okay, for parents and for caregivers,
Yes, ma'am.
number one thing I want us to know about confidence is that the advantage, right, outweighs the disadvantage for children that are not confident. So everyone, parents and caregivers, we should know that the advantage of confidence weighs more. And for that, we need to help every child around us, gain their confidence. There's a boy that is very close to me that, he does not really know how to sing. There's a way they sing the state and capital, this, that. So when the boy is reading the state and capital, he will, at a point, he will just be singing so many other things that are not even instead of saying, shut up, this, I will still call him again to sing it for me and I'll be dancing. And then the boy will feel like he's still very young, he's still very young. So the boy will feel like, he's doing what is right and all. But I'm sure that as he grows, as he progresses, he's going to get it right. But at the moment, he's not feeling like he doesn't know it. So I'm sure that if he gets to class and they ask who can do this, he will come out and sing it the way he's been singing it in the house. So we should know that the benefits, right, of this confidence weighs much, much more. Somebody will just walk up to the class and say, who knows this? And a child who knows it will raise his hand and say one thing, and then another person will be there and be saying, and I know this thing much more than this, so and I can explain deeper, but then the person that stepped out already got the prize. So the advantage of confidence is more, and it's not something that we should just sideline when we are dealing with toddlers, children, teenagers, and all children in our care. So please, for parents, for caregivers, I want you to know that the advantages of instilling confidence in the children in your care weighs more than the disadvantage. So with that, go ahead and ensure that you're supporting every child in your care and encouraging them to be confident in their abilities and in their skills.
Okay. Okay. So, does trauma have effect on a child's confidence? They alter a child's confidence.
It does. It really, really does. Now, for example, let me cite this example. For a young girl that's been living with lovely parents, husband and wife, daddy loves mommy, mommy loves daddy, and all of that. And all of a sudden, maybe be misunderstanding that could not be properly managed happened between daddy and mommy, and then this girl starts to see daddy and mommy fighting every day, and then she starts to cry. She cannot even separate them because she doesn't have enough power. And then the parents eventually divorce, right? Living separate, father living separate, or maybe they are even still living together. We have so many couples living together, but they are divorced. One will just enter one room, another person will enter another room, and so this is a girl that's been lively. We can jump on mommy, jump on daddy, hug everybody in the house. But because of what is going on in the house, you begin to see the ripple effect. Even in our academics, in class, she no longer will be free with people because she will not know that these ones now, I will join myself and be playing with them. At the end of the day, we don't know. Maybe they will fight. Maybe they would want to, become my enemy again. So all of these things, they help to, to what's the word now? To rip off a child of our confidence. So what am I saying in essence? Trauma. I just cited that as an example. It could be domestic violence, it could be abuse, it could be rape, it could be poverty. Some people, they've been doing well before school resumed. Daddy and mommy have gone to pay school fees. They don't send them out of school, and then something happened. Daddy lost his job. Mommy was sent packing. Maybe the government wants to expand the road. The warehouse was taken down. Mommy had to start from scratch, and then there's no money for school fees. They start to send them out of school. When others are in class, they have to pack their bag and lunch bag and come back home. All of these things can traumatize a child and make them to lose their confidence. So, with prayers, with being open to knowledge, and then guiding our excesses as parents and learning, we should be hopeful, and we should try as much as we can to ensure that we guide our children from all of this trauma, especially when they are young. There are some things that will happen to me now. I will not even take it to heart. But if it had happened 20 years ago, it might have shattered me. It might have destroyed my confidence. It might have destroyed my self-esteem. So, if I don't have money now, for example, I can just, okay, this is what I would do, this is what I would do, this is how I would navigate this time. But if it had happened 20 years ago, it might have broken me down. So I've not eaten since, mommy, I want to eat, I want food. So all of those things, we should ensure as parents and as caregivers not to expose our children, to all of these things, that can traumatize them. When I was young, let me cite this example. There's this program that my parents do listen to every Fridays. So the man will come on air and talk about things that will make you to be scared. Things that are happening. Maybe people did ritual, people did this. Even the song that they sing on that program will be making us to be afraid. The man is always talking about, I don't know if you know what I'm talking about. If you know the program, I don't want to mention it. So the thing is traumatizing. And then if my mom now say, yeah, go and bring something for me in the room, and that program is going on, I will be scared. I will run. Or sometimes I'll say, I can't go, right?
Yeah.
I can never forget that experience. So now that I'm a parent, right, there are some radio programs I will not listen to in my house. Do you understand?
Yeah.
There are some radio programs I will not listen to in my house, not because of me. If you want to say anything now, say it. God has helped me. I'm now an adult. Most I will be sad for a moment, but that doesn't mean I can still come out in midnight. I can still go into the dark and do anything I want to do. But because of the child in my house, right, I will not listen to some radio programs that will now make, some even dreams. I can remember that time that we sleep like this, and I'll be having nightmares, because of the things I've heard in the radio program.
Yeah.
So now I cannot. So sometimes I used to tell my husband that these people, is it that they did not experience some things when they were teenagers? There are some Yoruba movies that when you hear the things they are chanting in it, even me as an adult, there was one day one woman in my church, she was having a meeting and she does not want her children to distract her. So she now gave them one Yoruba movie to be watching, and they are chanting a lot. I had to go and call her. that she should come and change it to maybe something else that is friendly for those children to watch. And I told her specifically, this thing can impact their dream life. They would sleep and they will begin to dream, about all of these things. Right. So what am I saying is that we as parents, we should ensure to guide and guard our children from anything that can expose them to trauma. Because trauma is lifelong. I'm telling you, there are some things that happened when I was in primary school, right? I cannot forget. Then I was even less than 4 years. The day I mentioned it to my mom, she was surprised. What happened? I put in class, and then this nanny that was supposed to clean me off, she said she cannot use her hand to touch the. Then she used broom to brush my bum bum, and she was pouring water. She was using broom to brush my bum bum like this, and then she threw away my socks and my pants because they were stained with poop. So that day when my mom came back to pick me, she was telling her that you should have tied these socks and the pants in a nylon. She said, I'll go home and wash it. But what am I saying in essence? The woman now, if she's still alive, she might not even remember. But here I am, still remembering that there was a nanny that did not, use her hand to wash my bum bum, but was using broom to brush my bum bum. So we should guide our children from anything that can traumatize them. It's better, right, to guide them as much as it lies in our power than to expose them and then we cope with it. Even me, do you know what I passed through before I got to where I got to? No. If we can try, life is life. Life will always happen. But as parents, if we can protect them, don't watch this, don't go to these places and all. So that their confidence at least will be intact. That's childhood stage.
Okay. Okay, so in schools, are there subjects that children can learn that can boost confidence?
Well, at the moment, maybe social studies. Maybe social studies. But then, apart from the book work, there are so many things. They say something as you are passing through the school. That was when I was in secondary school. One of our vice principals, when they come on the assembly, say, as you are going through school, allow school to go through. Right? So there are so many things as teachers and as caregivers that we can help encourage them to do their homework on time. Encourage them to submit when other people are submitting. Encourage them to come to school on time. Today, when I went to go and drop my baby in school, some other children that came late. So the school proprietor was, she has one tiny cane like that. She was flogging their leg. Pat, 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 don't come late tomorrow. All of these things can affect that child throughout the day, throughout the whole day. The fact that some of our mates are in class and they are laughing at her, that you are a late comer, she, late comer, can affect the child, So as much as we don't have a subject, apart from maybe social studies, moral talk on the assembly, we can encourage encourage your child to go to school, participate in sporting activities, in music, in extracurricular. Do you want to do Red Cross? Do you want to do girls? Which one again? Girls guide, boys brigade. All of these things, encourage them to participate in extracurricular activities. So all of those can really help them to. Some children, if you open their notebook, there are so many assignments. I saw something that looked there's an English word for it on the internet, academic debt.
Yeah.
So you have not written your notes, you have not written your assignment, you have not submitted this project. All of those things can, but then if you encourage them, do your assignment on time, come to school early, submit this, come to the class, come forward, answer questions, all of those things can help to instill confidence in children.
Wow. Thank you so, so much. I mean, that was so inspiring. If you have any,
You said?
I'm trying to check if we have questions in the
Comment
comments because
section, okay.
I don't. And if we don't have any questions, thank you for joining us today. We really so enjoy the rest of your day
You
and have
too.
thank you.
You are most welcome. Yeah, bye.